No intro video today, ladies and gentlemen, because StreamYard is having issues. StreamYard's the platform we stream this wonderful podcast out into the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are live in downtown Youngstown. We are Youngstown's talk channel. We're in Youngstown Studio. It's Luke and I, the MLO bros, and also Joe Danyi from Youngstown Studio in the studio talking with you about whatever you want to. You can call in. You make the show great. Call in 330-595-1600. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. We have a list of different things we'll be discussing today. Tariffs, end of property taxes,
the mayoral race,
and
parenting other kids when you're not asked to be parenting
other people's kids. Is it okay? Is it not? But before we get started, I want to talk about one of our sponsors. We actually have a sponsor. I know people think, hey, these guys are idiots. They nobody pays them to do this podcast, but we actually do. Valley Insurance Group, Poland, Ohio. Poland's mayor sponsors our podcast. Valley Insurance Group, call them for any of your insurance needs, whether that be home. Whether that be auto. Call them. Get a quote. I used him for my insurance. Do you use Valley Insurance?
Yeah, I've used him twice actually in the last month.
Yeah, Luke keeps backing into things because he has ADHD.
Did I tell you I wrecked my truck twice?
Did you really?
Backed into I think 3 times.
I ran into Dave DeSantis from DeSantis Home Remodel in my driveway, and then I just ran into a telephone pole.
Who's surprised? Not me.
That's 2 things on my insurance.
ADHD.
Will they drop my insurance? I don't know. I hope not.
I went in the office the other day. I went into Valley Insurance Group the other day, and Tim's like, why does your brother keep backing into things? I'm like, are you really asking me that question? Have you met him? Like, he's just all over the place. He has no idea what's going on. He's rushing to this place, rushing to that place.
Yeah.
Valley Insurance Group, call them right now, 330-757-4451. I went from Progressive to Valley Insurance Group in 2019, and I saved, I think, $800 a year. So I did it. They convinced our old man, our dad, uses Valley Insurance.
Who's the cheapest person on the planet?
He's great. Call him for home, auto quotes. Call him.
Oh, if you're watching from home,
yeah,
I need them to help me.
Okay. What do you need them to help?
My microphone.
Okay.
I've been made aware I have a problem with my microphone.
Yeah, like you're going to talk right into it. Stop going like this.
I know. So listen,
like
if you're watching at home
right
today and my voice goes like this or I go like this, I need you to yell at me in the stuff. Okay? So like right now, see right here, Joe, right?
It's perfect.
Okay. You're doing great.
I'm trying my best.
We're working on it.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. Topics. Like I said, call in 330-595-1600. Luke, where are we starting?
Okay, where do you want to start? Let's get the national politics over. So we're going to cover this. We'll save the kids parenting. Now, when I say kids parenting, that is parenting kids you see doing stuff in public that aren't your kids and their parents aren't around.
That's what we're talking about later, or that's what we're talking about?
We're going to save that.
So a kid's fishing and you see him fishing. You're not allowed to fish here.
There are a couple incidents that have occurred that I want to see what people's takes are. I want to see what your 2 takes are.
On someone else's property or on your property?
Public property.
Got it. Okay. National politics first.
Okay. Trump tariffs. It has been announced that China and... Well, actually, do you know more? You probably know more about this than I do.
Go ahead, Joe. Give us the info about tariffs.
I don't know the actual numbers. No, we'd have to look it up.
Okay, hold on. Let's look this up.
But I know they went from the 145% level down to the 10% or the 30% level for 90 days until they can figure out on an item by item basis what the tariff should be.
Trump
and this was product from China to us. Correct. And then also from us to China. Right. We lowered the stuff going to China more so than stuff coming to us from China, right?
That's the way that it was, yes. And we put a reciprocal wherever they felt they were at from the trade imbalance, they came up with 145.
And it's like, so we are leaving ours on higher than what ours going into China.
There's a chart somewhere.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
It's our... China's coming in as 30%. Is that what you said?
Now it is, yeah.
Now they changed it.
And it's 10% for ours going into China.
Yeah, so we have a better deal
than
they do. Because, and it makes sense, we consume more product because we are a wealthier country with more consumers.
Right.
And our entire culture is
right. So that like it cracks me. So that's a good deal. Is that fair? Do we all agree that's a good, that for 90 days, that's a good deal for us?
Right.
What the outcome is at the end, we don't know.
Right.
So like Schumer was on the news this morning, Chuck Schumer, the time he's like, well, it looks like Trump folded to China. And I'm just like, dude, seriously?
So
he folded, he's given up to, I'm like, oh my God, dude, why do you guys play politics like that?
Right. So the left's argument is that he folded to China. He gave China a good deal, which I would argue we're still doing better. But the left's other argument, what were the tariffs like beforehand? Right? What were tariffs like before? Do we know what the numbers were before going in and out?
It's tough when you talk like a percentage over everything. That's not really how it works.
Okay.
So you might need lumber and they might need chips, or they might want to sell toys and we might not want to sell clothing. And each one of those items are going to be different. So when you take the aggregate and average, it doesn't really speak for if it's a good deal or not.
What was the aggregate average though?
Well, that's what the aggregate was. Yeah,
it was.
So let's just say
it's
what's
the same
important.
Thing?
What's important to their economy maybe was treated like with 100% tariffs, and now we lower that to 10. But then we pay a different one, a higher one that we don't need that much. Now the aggregate's not going to change.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be tough for us as a consumer to tell what they are on a line item basis.
So we don't necessarily know what it was before.
But in 90 days, they're going to hammer out what's important to their economy and what's important to ours.
So they'll figure out which product is most important.
Exactly.
Stock market jumped 2.8% or 1,100 points.
On
NASDAQ
Monday.
Rose 4.4%. SP gained 3.3%. Just
that makes total sense because you're going from the scariness of what was to, hey, there looks like they're coming to an agreement.
Unfortunately, interest rates went up too, by the way. Yeah. Mortgage rates. Isaac and I cheer for the rates to go.
Since Luke and I are both loan officers and real estate agents, I want those interest rates to come down.
We want the economy to
I'm like doing a rain dance for the economy to come down. I'm like, I don't care if boomers retirement accounts burn to the ground. Bring the stock market down. Stock market down. Bring it down, baby. Bring down the stock market.
Bad. It's so bad. I just keep saying this. If these tariffs work, and even if the U.S. ends up just a little bit ahead of what it was before, it's going to be worth it, right? And like, I know, like the people hate the politicians and the market. They hate the zigzag and the up and down and the uncertainty of it all. But if it ends up on top, it's going to be a freaking good thing.
Well, the other thing,
that's the bottom line.
The other thing I see happening, and this is like locally, this is a guy in Newcastle, a business owner, buddy of mine. He said he typically has customers, they're big customers, and this is a business in Newcastle that go to China and get product. But because of the tariffs and because of how expensive everything was coming from China, they're like, we got to come back to you. We got to use you.
They did come back.
So,
you heard that yourself.
Yeah, I heard that myself. So it's like, that is somewhere like, you want product to stay in the United States. That's creating jobs in Newcastle locally. That's creating jobs. That's creating money for that company. They're going to get bigger. And then on top of that, I know the left hates rich people. Like, you're forcing rich business owners to spend more money and also keep business here.
Yeah.
Force them to hire people here. That's good. Like, isn't that like, that makes sense to the leftward leaning side of my brain?
Well, yeah, I posted on the MLO Bros that there was a company, I was watching the news, and there was a company that was saying, it was like a stroller company, and they were like, these tariffs hurt us because we buy 95% of our parts from China.
Yeah.
And our company's faltering. And I'm like, I don't feel bad for you. Is that like,
no,
is that wrong? Like, I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for your company.
I feel bad for them. If I feel bad for them that this is happening, but at the same time, it's like, okay, adjust. You know, if you're a successful company, adjust and start paying for your product that in the United States and get it from stuff.
But they're going to say then their product's too expensive, right?
Yeah. Okay. You have to figure it out.
Right.
Well, and if it's an expense thing, I feel less bad, but there are some options that there are no industry in the United States to be able to serve that. So we have one customer that they get all of these plastic pieces made in China, and they do it once a year. And there aren't these plastic injection places that can even do what they're asking to do. So they were just out of business.
Same. I heard a lot of that with chips too. There were certain chips like
so
Apple,
you're done.
Apple was saying the China creates the best chips right now. And with what we want to do with the Apple 17, iPhone 17 or whatever, we cannot do it anywhere but in China. So we have to go through China. Is what they're saying.
Wow. Yeah, and it would take years for that industry to pop up here and have faith that we're not going to rip that rug underneath them and just open it back.
So my question is, is it the chips, Apple, or is it the child labor? Which one is it? Which one is it, Apple?
Right.
Is it the chips, or is it the child labor that you want?
Yeah, it's the expense.
What do you
I'm going to say a little of
Right. Why are those? Why are those chips so cheap? Right. Yeah. Right.
And the beauty of capitalism too, right, is if not corrupt capitalism, the good capitalism is we don't have products that can be made in China, and the price of all those products in China goes up. That creates a void that somebody in the United States can be like, hey, if it's too expensive, we'll figure out how to make it, and we'll make it in the United States, and I'll start a company, and then they hire a bunch of people in the United States. That's a good thing. It's going to take a long time for that to happen. It's not going to be instantaneous gratification like we all love, but it will happen over time. That void will create somebody to rise up, start a business, making those things, and then it works. So it's not going to be instant, but it's going to take time, but it could work out. And very well
with these tariffs, it's almost like if you borrowed something off of your neighbor and they charged you like $10 every time you borrowed it, but when you borrowed something off of them, you did it for free.
Right, exactly.
So if we could just equalize that stuff, then we give our industries a chance to retool and to have the specialties that can sell that same stuff here.
Right, but we're not doing that. It's not equal. It's not neighbor to neighbor, right?
No.
It's not, hey, I'll borrow your rake today, and then you let me borrow your air compressor or whatever tomorrow. It's not like that. It's, hey, I'm borrowing your rake, and then tomorrow, when you borrow my air compressor, you're paying $1.
But the problem has been, and the whole point of the tariffs is because the United States, going with that whole thing, is the United States has always been the neighbor with all the stuff.
No, we're the neighbor that consumes. We're the neighbor.
Well, I'm just saying when you're borrowing stuff, like I'm saying from the neighbor comparison, our shed has all the stuff.
Right.
Our shed has all the stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So you could leverage harder because they need
which
more
is what
from
Trump's do. Which is what Trump's doing.
It's more like we're in a neighborhood and we're sitting there and we have all the money. We're the wealthy neighbor, but we don't have any tools. Right. So we're like, hey, I got $1. Who wants to lend me their rake?
Right.
So then everybody starts competing. But the problem was they knew we had so much money that they were like, hey, we're just going to keep moving it up, charging you more and more and more and more. And it's like, no, if we're consuming, I want a good deal. I want a good deal or else.
But the other people have those tariffs in place to help their economy.
Correct.
That's why.
Correct.
Because it's not fair for them because they can't consume as much, they can't do as much, right? That's the whole point of that.
Right. They're trying to make money off of
so out of control
that they're becoming leeches, that they're taking advantage.
Right. They're taking advantage of it. And the U.S. has always been such a freaking, we'll just roll over and let it go. Just lazy, roll over and let it happen.
Yep.
That's the problem. Got complacent. It's just easy. Yeah. It's just
there's a new neighbor in town, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. And that's the problem. And I actually think it's good that we are doing it, especially with China. Like I said before, Canada, I think we shouldn't be doing that. Like, you know what I mean?
It's not, and it's not like we can't consume and build everything in America. It can't happen. Right. But it just has to be, listen, if we are consuming the most product globally, we should be getting the best deal. If you go to the store, you can work out deals with stores where it's like, listen, I'm going to buy 100 tires. I know the shelf price says $100 per tire, but I'm buying 100 of them. So can you give me a deal? Can you cut me 25% because I'm consuming? Yes. So that's what we should, if we're consuming the most product, we should be getting the best deal.
Yeah, and in this case, we were buying stuff from other countries that we didn't trust. Well, they weren't treating us well.
Right.
And in business, you either have to trust your suppliers if you're going to be dependent on them,
right?
Leverage them, have something to hold over them so they stay honest, or have competing suppliers that if they go rogue on you, at least you have somewhere else to buy from.
Right.
And we didn't do any of those things.
Right. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to take time. And what's your opinion on the empathy, right? The empathy would be, if we no longer buy product from some country that is so dependent on us, or we say, listen, you got to give us this ridiculous deal, and then their economy crumbles and all those people starve. How do you feel about that?
You mean like Ukraine? Is that
any country? Stop biting your nails. People are watching.
My God,
that's gross.
Hangnail.
Stop biting your nails.
Hangnail.
Live on air.
Well, and I do think that you can create economies. Like, we can do the same thing going to an economy and putting product out there that makes the lives of those people better, bringing industry to those people. So if your people have a heart, I wouldn't say the crippling capitalism that just exploits somebody or whatever. Right. No dice.
Right. Or the countries where it's like they like China, right? Where it's all the money goes to the companies and you're paying the government, and they're paying the kids a cent.
Right.
It's
but you solve that when you're negotiating those deals with them, that you tie it to how the money goes. So if you were sending supplies to Palestine, the Gaza Strip, right? Mm-hmm. And you're like, I want this to go to the people.
Right.
And when your supplies go there, they just get raided by people who didn't need it. Well, guess what? You don't do business again. You don't send more
until
supplies
they do it the right way.
Because it's just going to the wrong people anyway.
Right. But what if they just say it's going to the right people? It's like that's corruption, right? That's Ukraine,
right?
Where it's like, we're sending you all this stuff.
And that's half the dealings. I wouldn't go to countries that are notorious for corruption.
Right.
I would deal with countries that aren't that.
But then the people suffer even more.
It's their leaders' fault, not ours.
Right.
We're not.
True.
We're not in charge of that.
I agree. I'm just saying that's what
Brian Anderson said, dudes, the time lag was why they're saying the orange shark caved. Who's going to invest in the U.S. if the president acts like a bobblehead doll? Everyone is going to invest in the U.S.
It's not about the president at all. It's about consumption.
Yeah,
we consume the most. It doesn't matter how much of an a-hole
you may have a problem with the president, Brian, but money and the consumption of the United States,
right?
Other countries are going to look by that.
Yeah,
who's in charge?
And I don't think I'm like
basic.
I'm like sitting here, and I agree with the fact that, like, listen, I don't think the president should be making Star Wars memes. I don't think the president should be making pictures of him as the Pope saying, "Hey, I'm the Pope now." Like, I don't think that's the most presidential thing you could possibly do, and I don't think it's right. And you can think that too, but other countries need us because of our consumption, and because our materialistic way of society just consumes.
Right.
And because of that, and because of our wealth compared to the rest of the world, I think what our average salary is our average.
Oh, that's a great question.
National average income.
Average
national
I'm
income.
guessing 75,000.
That's my guess too. Average
65.
Average
national income.
And Brian's argument is for things to stay the same, because if you didn't do, I know the economies need consistency, but consistency means that we're just going to allow that to happen.
What is it?
59,384.
Okay. Whoa. Our average national income in the United States is 59. Now do global average income. Let's see what the global average income is.
Joe, you want to take a guess?
32,000.
I'm going to say about 30,000.
Yeah, 30,000. Global income. What is it? Average global income for the average person globally is what?
9,500.
9,500. So take into account that is the
US
freaking that is US dollars. That is including the freaking tribesmen in the middle of the Amazon.
Right.
So like that is including a ton of people. But but globally, $9,500. That just goes to show, if the United States is making $59K a year on average, we have way more money than everybody else to spend on random shit.
And just think, if that's an average, there are some countries that are in the single or double.
I mean, they're tribe people that don't make any money.
Median global income. So what would that be the difference? So
the middle
median
number.
global income,
the middle number
is 3,000.
Damn.
3,000 a year.
But the cost of living is cheaper. Yes, the cost of living is cheaper. But all of the other countries realize the United States has all the money. They are consuming product that we can make cheaper because the cost of living and the cost of everything's cheaper here. So we are going to sell it to them. We have all of the consumption. We have the keeping up with the Joneses mentality, where if my neighbor gets a nice car, I'm going to get a nice car. That creates a situation where we consume more than every other country on the planet, and they know it. And we have to not let them take advantage of us. I think that's important. And I don't care who the president is. Yeah. That's still going to remain important.
And neither do the countries either. That's no. And Brian's always commenting about Trump.
Right.
And Trump sharpness. And it's like these
people fine,
like
you can
Brian,
think whatever you want.
You can have your opinion
on
him.
Think that.
And you can think that, and you can think no one's going to deal with the U.S., but that's not going to happen because the countries are going to deal with the U.S. because of Trump.
Right. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because they want money so they can buy food.
You know, the first person that new Canadian prime minister came and saw was Trump. Like it's just the way of the world.
Nicholas says, it makes a good point. We've talked about this on the pod before. Trump needs to make it so China can't buy our land.
That's true. Yeah.
So what you don't want is the authoritarian countries being able to use their system or use our system against us.
Yeah, exactly.
So our freedom is you can buy land wherever you want. They're like, hell yeah, we got all this corrupt money. Let's buy all their land.
Yeah.
So you have to stop that. And then we'll work our way up to hey, the people making the decisions in Washington, D.C. shouldn't be able to make millions and millions and millions of dollars off of the corporate, corrupt businesses that are influencing decisions for their best interest and not the best interest of the people. It's a crazy dance.
Right.
But
what's our next topic? This is a good one. I'll read the article. Ohio Attorney General David Yost announced that a petition to abolish property tax has been approved. The Ohio Attorney General's office has approved the petition title and summary for a proposed constitutional amendment titled Abolishment of Taxes on Real Property. This amendment seeks to add Section 14 to Article 12 of the Ohio Constitution. The petition has received by the Attorney General's office on May 1st. The office's role as outlined by the Ohio Revised Code to ensure that the submitted language accurately summarizes the proposed amendment. Having carefully examined this submission, I conclude that the title and summary of fair and truthful statements just popped up. Whatever. Okay, the next steps involve the Ohio ballot board determining whether proposal constitutes a single constitutional amendment or multiple amendments. That is not what I wanted to read. Hold on.
And we have 41 people watching now while Luke's looking that up. If you could, go down below. We only have 3 likes. Give us a like. Give the MLO Bros a follow. Give us a heart or a laughing face or thumbs up, whatever.
There it is.
Also, go follow Youngstown Studio as well.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm trying to find the actual article where the people were talking. Hold
on. What state was that?
It's Ohio.
So I like the idea of actually owning my property and not owing anything extra. I like the idea of when I pay off my loan on my mortgage on my property and I have 5 acres, I don't have anything extra and I own it outright and I don't have to pay $400 or $4,000 a year in property tax.
There we go.
I like that idea.
Last week, Attorney General approved the language that could soon allow for a bold move brought on, they say, by the state legislature. Okay. So this group said it's a bold move brought on, they say, by the state legislators' refusal to deal with property taxes. All through 2024, nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to do anything with it, said Kyle Cutts. Okay. Beth Blackmar of Lakewood and Kyle Cutts is from North Olmsted. They're part of the group called Citizens for Property Tax Reform in Ohio, which wants to replace a constitutional amendment on November ballot to eliminate property taxes. They want to have good city services. They want to contribute, but things went too far with this, and they're were no fixes on the horizon. So that's when people started getting really upset, said Blackmar. Their complaint is with state legislatures in Columbus. Back in 2024, the 11th hour in the month of December, there were over a dozen bills on the table for property tax relief reform. And guess how many they passed? 0. Among the citizen group's proposals were no property taxes for people over 665, that no senior citizen should be evicted for unable to afford the property taxes, that property taxes should be determined by what someone paid for property and not an appraisal, that a combination of income and property tax would be more equitable and tax abatements would be regulated. None of these passed. The ball is still in the legislature's court. If they decide to do something, Blackmar said. Blackmar said New Jersey has the highest property tax rate in the nation. In Ohio, we're number 6 in the entire nation. We are number 6. But in New Jersey, senior citizens can make up to $500,000 a year and get 50% off their property taxes. Now, that is very generous and meaningful. We're not state senators, we're not state reps, but we're coming up with ideas. That's their job down in Columbus, and they have done nothing. These state lawmakers need to come up with ideas and solutions, so we will force their hand. Citizens for Property Tax Reform in Ohio will need 460,000 signatures from 44 different counties to get the property issue on the ballot. Blackmar doesn't think they'll have a problem getting these signatures. She says that the response has been absolutely overwhelming.
All right. Lesson time. So you go buy a house.
Yep.
You buy a house. You buy a house for $200,000. Okay. You get a loan. Your mortgage and your monthly payment has your interest, your principal, your taxes, your property taxes included in that, and your insurance included in that. After 30 years, you pay off your mortgage. You still have to pay on that property your taxes, your property taxes, and your insurance yearly on the house in case your house burns down. Well, you don't have to pay that anymore, your insurance, but you can. So no matter what happens, after you pay off your mortgage, you've paid your $200,000. You still have to pay property taxes. I think mine are like $4,000 a year. So what that means is you never truly own your house. You still are paying rent to the government.
Well, for what though?
So that's the question. What happens if they just totally get rid of property taxes? Like,
well, do you know what the breakdown is?
Goes to the schools. It
goes to the schools, goes to the buses, goes to the library,
right.
Goes to, I'm going to pull it up.
Right. So like, how do you make up for it? If I'm not like, am I going to get like a separate tax and it's all going to end up being the same thing anyways?
So it's like school districts is 59%, county departments.
59% goes to the schools. Yep. That's a
townships,
lot.
Special districts, Mill Creek Parks, libraries. There's some sort of medical stuff in here.
Right.
And it's in the state of Ohio, it's 18.3 billion is what is collected in.
Wow. 18.3. So Nicholas Orlo says, where do we then get money from our schools? Our education can't be hit. They are our future. Tony says, my 2 biggest bills every month, property taxes and insurance. So
I'll tell you what,
I think it's important to not just lump it into property taxes. I want more of a breakdown. Because the average person, I didn't know that 50%, 59% of my property taxes go to the school. I didn't know that. So like, give us a freaking itemized bill, or
I think you can get it online,
or mail to my house, or give me hey, you have a school tax, you have this tax, you have this tax, you have this tax. And then the average person can keep up with it and be like, hey, I'm paying this much per month to go to the schools. I'm paying this much per month to go here. I'm paying this much per month to go here. Having more information and understanding more about where your tax makes you a better voter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they have to fight harder for your tax money because they have to come to you, the citizen, rather than just get it from your property tax.
So my question is to this group. So if you don't, I mean, schools are important. Roads are important. Oh, it's emergency services are another one they get paid in there. That's all important. So how do you pay for that if you don't have property taxes?
Yeah. Income tax. What about all the people that rent?
Well, it's paid through the mortgages that the people pay.
That the owners
are paying for it.
Yeah, the owner of the building.
I mean, that's basically passed through. Like I don't like that. People are like, oh, the renters don't pay for schools. Yes, they do. It's paid through the mortgage. Like the people, the
owner, the business owner has extra taxes.
Right. You like your rental property, you're paying for the schools.
Right.
But your renters are paying through the rent.
Right. Yeah.
They would have to levy everything. You'd have a police levy, fire levy, whatever, and go directly to voters is how you'd make up that difference.
And what would be hilarious?
Would it be on your property?
Wouldn't be on property. No.
It would be mailed to you or whatever. They'd have to ask you for it.
Pay a tax directly to the town.
Wait, what would be? So then I'm going to owe them at the end of the year.
You're still going to owe them because it still has to be different. Paid.
Oh, that would suck. So what? It's going to come out of like my taxes at the end of the year.
Yes.
Yeah, you'd have to pay your government services tax.
So it's just going to be one for the other.
But there might not be other stuff jammed in there. It might be a lower amount.
I think cleaning it up and in making it so that you have to get every dollar from us. What's going to be freaking hilarious is when they have road levies and they never get any money because it's like the roads are shit. You don't deserve anything.
One of the ones that
or hold them or the roads are awful. Here's more money. If they don't get this percentage better, you will never get another dime from me. Yep. That's what needs to happen.
What's like
Isaac? What up?
Isaac,
can I wear the hat?
don't give him that hat. That's like you gotta work for that. Tell him, Isaac, you gotta work for that.
Isaac, come get on the camera. Show off the hat, man. Show off the hat.
Look at the hat, Isaac. What do you got to do for that hat?
Mail call. Come right over here.
Look at that hat. Look at that hat. What do you got to do for that hat? You got to get a job in the post.
Wait, over here.
Can I get a job?
Look at that hat. I want that hat so bad.
Everybody wants this hat.
I love it. All right, man. Be good. I'll see you.
You asked him for his hat.
That hat's awesome. It's a stick hat.
Asked him for his hat. I'm trying to find a breakdown.
Tony Williams, how about after your mortgage is paid off, no property tax, or when you are 65? So, Tony, if you do that, you're going to incentivize people to pay cash on property so they don't have to ever pay property tax. That won't work either.
But why is that fair, though? Yeah, right. I don't think that's fair.
No, because all it is, Tony, I can guess you're over 65. You just don't want to pay property taxes because you're on a fixed income.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. People are like, oh, people over 65 already paid in, right? Great. Wonderful. Fantastic.
Right.
But those services, you're still using those services.
Yeah. You just don't want to pay for it because you're on a fixed income. Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Except for schools.
Hey,
if you don't have kids going to school anymore, you're still paying for school.
Hey guys, the other thing you also had 65 years to do a better job preparing for retirement, but you didn't invest properly. That's not my problem.
But when when their kids were going to school, the people at 65 were paying for that stuff.
Yeah.
So now you're 65, so you pay for the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that argument. Oh, I'm 65. I pay for, you know what? I pay for the buses right now. The WRTA is on my tax bill. I don't use it, but I pay for it.
Right.
So you 100% people over 65 saying, I shouldn't pay property tax. This is bullshit.
Right.
You should still pay.
Right.
It's a
there's also an argument, right, that generation is one of the laziest generations.
The 65 and over?
The 65, so the boomers are the laziest generation because
are you insane saying why do you say that? Why? Oh my god,
the generation
piss off the boomers.
I'm gonna piss off the boomers.
He already does. Like they all hate him anyway.
The generation
stuff he says all the time.
Generation above them. So Grandma McHugh, which was
the hard work. Yeah, those are the boomers. No, those aren't the boomers. That's the golden generation or whatever it is.
The golden generation.
Right?
Okay.
The 80s in their 80s.
Our grandparents.
Yeah. The steel mill workers, those guys, right?
So those guys, it was always drop your kids off whenever you can come over. We'll come to you. I'll go take you to McDonald's. I'll do this with you. I'll do that with you. I'll take care of you. Had no problem paying taxes. Loved the next generation. Loved taking care. They were nurturers. Now you have a lot more of the boomers who don't want to pay for anything. They don't want to spend as much time with their grandkids. They don't want to take care of. It's different. It's not, hey, just drop your kid off whenever. I'll find a way to take care of. They have to go on
mom and dad's generation.
Yeah, mom and dad's generation.
You're saying mom and dad are dope.
I'm not saying mom and dad. I think mom and dad did a very good job of planning for retirement, and they spend their time taking care of their grandkids. But I don't think a lot of the other people are like that.
Oh my god, that is an insane statement.
The only thing boomers gave us was LSD, long-standing debt.
Wow.
Well played.
Wow. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if
they constantly kick the can down the road. It's not my problem. The next generation will pay for it.
I mean, right now, what you're seeing a lot of, at least in Poland, is you got these freaking people that are not 100% not voting for school levies.
Yeah. So
They're
so
sitting
what
in their houses.
but they can't. They say their argument is they can't because they're on a fixed income.
Right.
But at the same time, they're saying we don't it's not the future generation is not an investment to me.
Right. It's the most selfish thing. It's the
very
most selfish stuff I've ever heard.
And by doing that, they don't realize it, but they're destroying the community that they grew up with, and making it a bad investment for the future. But they don't give a shit.
No, they do not care.
They don't care, and they can say they do care, and that's a cop out, and then I'm lying. But your actions prove otherwise. And hey, I'm pretty sure you guys actions are speak louder than words, right? And sticks and stones may break my bones, and snowflakes, and all these terms of the left that's so empathetic. Like you guys are proving that that's not the case. Yeah, you don't care.
Yeah. Well, in Beverly, we're not saying everybody's like that. No. Now, Beverly, we are not saying
our parents are very much
Beverly.
Not
we're not saying all, but we are saying a lot of them are like that. And I am not saying all people retired in Poland are like that either. I'm saying a lot of people retired in Poland are against those levies because they don't want to pay, they don't want to move because they don't want to. They don't have to move, but they don't support the schools because they don't want to pay more for their taxes. They don't want to help the schools. I have 3 kids in there, and they don't want to support the area.
Not all boomers.
Yeah, we're not saying all boomers, Joe. Not you.
Tony Williams says, so you have a problem with your parents and are too cheap to pay a babysitter. So I don't have any kids yet, but I just see a lot of people complaining online that their parents are out vacationing or doing whatever, and they don't want to spend. Like I grew up and we grew up where it was just like, hey, you're going to grandma's for the week. You're going to
I lived at grandma's.
Yeah, you're going and you're living there. We got to work. We got something to do.
Shoot, we had our great grandma at our house.
Great grandma lived to be 100, stayed at her house all the time.
With
like
the babies.
They weren't selfish at all. It was everything goes to the next generation.
Yeah.
So it's just different. It just feels different.
Right. And we're not saying all boomers.
No, not all.
If we said that is not.
But
you got a caller, by the way.
Caller?
Too cheap to pay for babysitter. Joseph says you are insane if you say all boomers. I worked full time in the machine shop and went to college full time. Managed to graduate
you there?
in 4 years. Started.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Hi, 17. Are you a boomer calling to yell at us?
Well, listen, I live in Poland, and so I pay attention to the levies, and I pay attention to what Ralph Meacham said. He said that 400 school districts in Ohio are getting 20 mills.
Okay.
Is Poland one of those?
Yes, it is. And he said that Poland is getting $2.7 million because they're viewed as a 20 mil district. So again, I mean, we're being stolen from, right? It just has to be fair. And it's the same thing when the levy passed for the roads, when we're sitting on $3.5 billion in our rainy day fund, and they want to put us in debt for 30 years for $2.5 billion. I mean, if you use that $2.5 billion out of the rainy day fund, you still have $1 billion left over.
Right.
So that's what I'm talking about. So Poland really shouldn't be designated as a 20 mills district. And this is according to our auditor.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess we just all need to pay way more attention and don't just pass school levies, not even knowing, that it's not even designated the correct way.
So there's got to be a balance.
Property taxes should be much lower.
Right.
What do you think about the current? What do you think about the current situation of the schools and like how well, like if they're old? Do you think they're falling apart, or do you think they're in great shape?
Sure. Okay. So I graduated from Boardman, and I went to Boardman Center, and Boardman Center is 100 years old. Okay. So if there's any school in the area that should be replaced, honestly, it should be that school.
Okay.
But you don't just go like they wanted to replace schools in Poland and Canfield, and I mean it just wasn't necessary.
Have you ever walked through Poland schools?
I have not. I've only been in Poland.
You gotta walk
that is something. That is something that a lot of people in Poland that are older that are voting, and they say, I don't want to pay a dime. Yeah. And they say that schools are fine. Everything's great, but they've never actually walked through the schools. I think.
Okay. Are any of the schools 100 years old that are in use?
Yes. 100%.
100. McKinley's like older than the country. So yeah.
And it's in use, they're using it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they are.
Oh yeah.
You
It's
should,
yeah.
along with all the other folks that live in
100%.
Poland that don't know,
McKinley is.
should go on. I know they've had walkthroughs of the schools trying to get voters out there and see what the situation is, but people
What
just
about
don't
the
show
high
up.
school?
High school
What about the high
was 60s or 70s. The high school's okay. It's McKinley.
Right.
It's McKinley is the one that's old. It's really bad. McKinley's really bad.
Like McKinley,
Okay,
the president went there.
Yeah.
I believe you, but they wanted to also replace the high school. So I guess all I'm saying is I'll pass a levy if it's the correct millage.
So
And
the
I don't
problem
see
is
Poland and a lot of other districts.
the problem is McKinley, right? Is where like right now we have different schools, or Poland. I don't live in Poland anymore. They have schools that are all over the place, and the new school in the high school, right, the one that you're saying is newer that was built in the 70s, doesn't have enough room.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you build an addition? You build an addition onto addition onto addition onto addition. Like, but still, you need money to do that. So like
Yes, you do.
McKinley's ancient. So I totally think, and I agree with you, that money should be spent correctly. I'm all for making sure it's going where they say it's supposed to go, and making sure it's not wasted and not the schools aren't taken care of. But I think at the same time, we need to be aware that there are issues, and the school is old. And like Luke's wife is a teacher in the schools and says there's constantly windows leaking and it's a mess. And I think investing in the future at the same time and investing that money the right way and holding our elected officials to a standard, making sure they're doing the right thing is important. But it's a balance. It's not just all one way. And I know Ron Verb is in the afternoon saying, I'm done paying taxes. It is what it is, and I'm done. I'm tired of spending money, and they're not getting another dime from me. That's dumb. I don't think that's the right call either. I think it's got to be a balance in investing in the future. Because if you're like, I'm done, that's totally giving up on the future generations. Totally giving up on that.
Well, but here's my point. Okay, here's my point. Poland has to be the correct millage to start with, okay? And then you can have the levies, and I think people would pass them. But then the other thing about going back to issue 2, we just passed something that's going to put us in debt for 30 years that we didn't need to pass at all because we're sitting on the money right now.
You're talking about the issue 2-1 or whatever the one that passed. The issue that just
was for
passed.
the roads.
Right. The roads that just passed. Yeah, that passed pretty solid though, didn't it?
So why would I listen? Why would I want to spend $2.5 billion for 30 years with interest when we're sitting on it?
Right.
That makes no sense. We're being stolen from.
Right. How about cancer?
So I don't know.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, 17.
Bye.
When we walked through, that's funny. She said she'd never been through the schools, but she said they didn't need it. Isn't that funny?
That's classic.
That is classic.
That's classic.
That is classic. How
Poland
she said
resident who doesn't want to spend any more money.
Classic. That is funny.
And then we've had Superintendent Hockenberry on, and he's like, we try and get them to walk through, but they don't want to do it because it's ultimately not about the schools in the future.
It's about the money.
It's about they don't want to spend any more money.
There was a comment. Where was it? The Rhino, our friend, the Rhino picture guy. He said, "How is it our task to care for your child?" And he's talking about. Because when your kids were in school, the 65-year-olds and over paid for property taxes that paid for your kids.
And I'm not saying
so annoying.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying your generation is more selfish than the generation before you that took care of us.
And that comment right there proves the point.
Why is it our that's
why is it our problem? Why do I got to pay for your kids?
Why should I have to take care of your children? You don't have to. But the generation before you was much more nurturing, and they took care of us. It was come on over, honey. We'll take care of you. Drop them off at grandma's house.
That's it. Right
That's how
there.
it was. It's
that
different.
is exactly
it's different. Whether
that's
it's
that
different.
right there. That comment.
You don't have to, but we're forced to.
Right.
You don't have to do that. But whereas before we grew up and it was always just throw them at grandma's house or grandpa's house and they'll take care of us because they were just less selfish.
Right. I mean, that proves the point right there. That is it, right? That statement right there
it was different.
proves
And
our
maybe
point.
maybe a
Man,
portion of
that's
that,
crazy.
maybe a portion of that is today's society, or the boomers didn't prepare enough for retirement, or it's way more expensive to live now than it was back then. So you got to keep working or do whatever you got to do. But
see, Nicole
it's
says
different.
Nicole says people seem to forget good schools equal good neighborhood. When the schools suck, cities and neighborhoods. See, but the problem, I think what's happening though, Nicole, is these people aren't planning on leaving these houses
ever,
and right,
and they'll leave it when they die.
Right, exactly. Like even in my neighborhood, and I've said this before, I have people who are 80, living in 2-story, 3,000 square foot houses.
Right.
They're struggling with the yards. You know what I mean?
Right.
By themselves. Kids are gone. Don't have kids. Whatever. They're not going to leave
ever.
Because Because and they've admitted it to me because they sell their house for $400,000. Right.
Right.
They got to move into a condo.
Yeah.
That's $400,000 or $500,000. And it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right. So it doesn't make sense that these houses are paid off. They're going to end up having a mortgage sometimes if they do. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So
and what you're doing is you're taking away from families that could move in there and pay the taxes
and hence
send their
the
kids
schools drop because they don't have enrollment.
So what will happen? What will happen? People seem to forget good schools with a good neighborhood.
Right.
They will regret it when they're rolling over in their grave.
Right.
And the competition, the other schools, Columbiana, South Range, all these areas that
new builds and stuff
new
like
builds
that.
And have better schools. All of the new families will flock to those neighborhoods and send their kids there while Poland declines.
Yep.
And
Canfield too. Canfield has new builds because they have the room to grow. They have more land out there to build houses. Poland does
their only argument will hold of as long as the education standards hold true, the schools will stay, and it doesn't matter what situation the buildings are in. But the second those grades start to falter, and the second the schools start to go to crap because of it, that's when people will move to other areas.
The problem is going to be those people are on fixed income.
Right.
You could have old schools. You could drag them through the schools when they don't want to go. They're going to vote no on those levies because they don't give a crap.
Right.
They're worried about their income.
Right.
They don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe they can't afford it. Maybe they can't afford new taxes. I mean, I know a breakdown of it for the levy that was passed. It was like $100 a year per 100,000 or something like that.
Tony says, but we paid taxes for 45 years. You act like we never paid.
So you keep paying it. You're still alive.
You're not dead.
Just because you paid 45 years doesn't mean you're off the hook.
I'm gonna pay it for 45 years.
I'll have to pay it 45 years from now too, Tony. You don't get some pass 45 years. What was it, 30 years, 20 years?
I'm older than you, and I know better.
Right. Seriously.
I'm older than you.
Do you understand?
I know better. You have
entitled much, Tony. So entitled. I worked for 45 years. I don't got to pay taxes no more. That's what you sound like. So entitled. Jesus.
The only thing you have over us is wisdom. You've been around longer. You know.
If he has wisdom, he should be smarter than that comment.
See, wisdom is not the same thing as intellect.
Good God.
So that's the thing. We're going to be paying taxes in 45 years. We will be paying taxes.
Somebody just said F you snowflakes.
Right. And then in the same breath, that's a joke. In the same breath, you will do just that. We will call you entitled, and then you will turn around and call us entitled.
F you snowflakes. George, that's good. With the grumpy faces too. We just got called snowflakes. Screw you.
See, that's the thing, man. Actions speak louder than words. You are acting entitled by saying that you paid taxes for 45 years and you don't have to pay them anymore. That's not how it works.
Right.
God, and we're saying 45 years from now, we will be continuing to pay taxes.
In 45 years from now,
I might be dead.
45 years from now, I'll probably be saying I don't want to pay taxes.
I'll be surviving in a nuclear wasteland with my radioactive children,
with my German Shepherd.
Yeah,
because
guess what? The boomers blew up the planet.
Good job, Tony.
Good job, Tony, and your stupid Ron.
All right, read that one from Jerry.
Jerry says permanent improvement levies are for improvements with more than 5-year life and can't be used for salaries or anything else. In my opinion, the transparency is not there for all to logically understand. Most levies are proposed without repetitive explanations to explain how it is for the good of all, especially your points of helping keep values up in homes and spur growth. People do not really educate themselves on levies.
That's true,
They
too.
have to be educated.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yep. Tony says, maybe we should be entitled to something. It's about you have no respect.
Why do I have to respect you, Tony? You earn respect. You don't just get it. I don't just give you
because
respect.
You've been alive for 20 years long or 30 years long.
Do you respect me, Tony?
Yeah. Well, Tony, what if there's a person out there that is just a honking piece of human garbage and they've been on the planet 30 years more than me? Do they still deserve my respect?
Do you like that
again? Do they deserve the same amount of respect?
Another comment of entitlement. You automatically feel
proving the point, Tony.
To gain respect. You think you deserve respect. You are entitled. Seriously, boomers, you need to silence Tony because he is ruining all of you and your reputation.
So what has happened, right? So what has happened, and we can look up statistics for this. So their generation, right, doesn't want to watch the kids. So we have to send our kids to childcare. I don't have kids yet. This is just statistics. Look up what somebody look this up.
I will.
Average childcare costs in 2025.
Oh,
you have to send your kid to daycare.
I'm going to guess $500 a month
for one child. Just keep going. It's fine. Don't.
He's so annoying.
He's
the most entitled boomer I've ever read in the comment section.
The heaping pile of garbage that's 30 years older than me deserves my respect.
He deserves it. Tony deserves respect because he's older.
Tony, that doesn't make any sense.
Tony, you are a perfect example of everything we talked about.
I want you to know that's a stupid take.
Yeah,
how much does childcare cost today for one child? On average, a month. How much is it?
I got daycare centers, nannies, family centers.
Let's do daycare centers. Let's do daycare centers.
Daycare centers, $1,039 per month.
Okay,
for one child.
Let's do 94. The year I was born. How much was it,
dude? I'm gonna get a nanny.
How much was it?
$1,039 per month.
Per month.
What's a family center?
Okay,
babysitters
in the 90s. In the 90s, grandma took care of me. Right. Grandma took care of me as well as my entire generation. You'd go to work and you'd toss me out of the minivan, say, duck and roll, kids, get out of here. You're going to go to grandma's house. How much was daycare facility in 1994?
Daycare facility.
How much did it cost?
1994. Dude, ChatGPT.
Or 95, whatever. Or just 90s.
It's smoking. It's smoking, Joe. It's smoking.
As Tony Soprano said, to receive respect, you have to give respect.
$90 per week.
It's actually still pretty expensive.
So times 4, that would put you at 360. Yeah, 360. Wow,
360 per month.
Yep, dude, it's gone up freaking 4 times.
That's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I just
really,
yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be because you got to think the cost of living has gone up exponentially. So my argument is kind of destroyed. But I was just going to say, if you had more parents watching kids, the price should be lower. But I don't know. You'd have to the cost of living. How much is the cost of? That's a good question. How much has the cost of child care gone up from the 90s to present day?
Cost of child care 90s compared.
Dad said grandma didn't take care of you. Whitmer took care of you. I did have nannies. I was dropped off at nannies, but Grandma Campolito lived with us.
Yeah,
that was 100% free, other than you feeding grandma.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also was always at Grandma McHugh's.
Full-time daycare, 1994, $90 a week. 2025, $240 a week. Is that what you asked?
So it's gone from 90 to 240.
That's probably about right.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds right.
So it's not as bad as I thought it was.
No.
Not as bad at all.
I mean, it's still expensive.
It's still crazy.
When
I mean, even back then.
When we had Lucas 14, 15 years ago, we went to a finance person to figure out if we wanted Maggie to work or not. And the only reason it made sense for Maggie to work was because she was going to be a teacher for healthcare benefits. Because if not,
stay home and watch your kids.
Stay home and watch your kids. And then Bob retired and watch your kids. Anyway, speaking about unselfish parents,
right?
Talk, my in-laws who've watched my kids forever. So.
And cost of living since 1990 was 2.45 times.
Right.
So all those numbers line up
because you see. You constantly see boomers making that argument about insurance or mortgage rates, right? They're like, I remember when rates were 17%. We are loan officers. We deal with this every single day. The problem, you can't just look at the interest rate. There's more variables than just the stupid interest rate, boomers. It comes down to
how you call boomers.
The costs,
so disrespectful.
Your salary,
an entire group of
like an entire group.
What?
How many?
I see them on Facebook all the time. They piss me off because they say, "Oh, I remember when interest rates were 17%. 17% on $40,000 when you bought your house in the 70s. When you bought your house for the price of a mid-size SUV." When your income was $30,000 and you were buying a house for $40,000, whereas now your income is $60,000 and you're buying a house for $400,000, 5 times your income.
That's what I looked up. Isaac just insulted. Ready? So when Isaac insults the baby boomers, okay, you guys all ready for this?
Yeah.
When Isaac insults the baby boomers, he is insulting exactly 20% of the U.S. population.
Nice.
68.6 million people.
70 million people in that group, Isaac.
Born between 1946 and 1964.
Let me just. Wait. What years were they born in between?
46 and 64.
46 and 64. Yeah. Yeah.
And then 65. What? You're a Gen X, right?
Yeah.
And that's me too. I'm like Joe and I are
a millennial.
You're a millennial?
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Freaking millennial.
Are you a millennial?
I'm the very beginning of the millennials, but I'm a special portion of the millennials.
Of course, you're Gen X years. Hold on. Let's say, wait, Gen X.
Nicole says Bob Barker and Jerry Springer took care of me
while she's watching TV. All right, Gen X is often called the middle child generation.
I am the very, very beginning of the millennials.
Right now, Gen X is 45 to 60 years old. Right? I'm 46. You're what, 47? 49. Okay, that makes sense. Gen X. Wow.
What millennials are because my thing is the internet didn't come out till like 99, 2000. It wasn't like pumping until 99.
Is that
2000.
what makes millennials?
No, but Gen X is okay. What's
millennials are 81 to 96. So that is
I am 94. I am the tail end of millennials. But here's the thing. I still grew up.
Also known as Gen Y.
Yes. So I grew up outside still. We still played outside because we weren't iPad kids.
Right.
Because I didn't have until I was 10, I wasn't on YouTube.
Right.
So we still played outside. The internet wasn't that cool yet. I had an N64 and stuff. I was playing video games, but a majority of our time was playing outside. And I was raised on a friggin', like Dad said, he took me to the nanny was on a farm.
Yeah, you were kind of right before the internet kicked.
Right. So millennials have the advantage of we know how to talk to people, but we also know enough about technology to get by.
Well, I feel I do too, though. I know it.
Right. You're not a normal Gen Xer.
I would agree with that.
Same coming after Gen Xers now.
Yeah. I feel like my generation is more into tech than you guys are, obviously. Because you guys are just.
I would say we're freakishly Joe is better, but
you guys are above the curve in terms 100%. Of the average Gen X.
You think that's fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
because you have like our brother-in-law Brent doesn't know anything.
No, he doesn't know crap.
There are
about
people
that.
our age that have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say with that.
Yeah, Dad. I dug
Digging
holes in his
holes in my
backyard.
backyard.
Then he'd blow a tire because I dig a hole
Yeah.
looking for dinosaur bones in the backyard.
Yeah, there are definitely people in our age bracket is weird because I think it was almost. Did your parents have computers?
I bought and built a computer first. So
How old were you?
I was 12.
See, right, exactly. And my parents had one in like '85. It was like one of the first ones.
Commodores, yeah.
Yeah, Commodores and the IBM. And I remember playing video games and going into DOS and stuff like that. And I was showing Lucas DOS the other day on he's like, "What the heck is this?" And I was
It's like a
like,
different language.
PD Dad, you know what I mean, and all
Yeah.
this stuff, and showing him the different drives. He's like, "What the heck is that?" I was like, "Dude, this is how it used to be."
State of the art.
The state of the exactly. So he was absolutely. So yeah, would you know about DOS and stuff?
No, I no.
Yeah, see, right.
'Cause I had by the time it was, I remember seeing it in like the very beginning of it, like first grade. But then by the time I was writing papers in high school, we had Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
So
when
I never had to.
and
really
when
deal
I
with
went
it.
in, so I went into typing class and computer class in high school. They had it.
Yeah.
And our teacher was like, "How do you know how to type so fast?" Because we've had a computer, right? Like I was like, the teacher was like blown away.
Yeah, you had to do command line everything. So you learned how to type.
Oh yeah, really fast. And like the video games we played was like all typing. It was all like talk to person, talk to this, talk to that. It was really weird. So have you ever seen the Gen X tape on a keyboard? That didn't take a class in college. One finger it takes 10 minutes.
That's our brother-in-law Brent.
Yes. It's brutal. I did have Mrs. Mink. Yep. Mrs. Mink, rest in peace. She died. Yep.
Driving to Columbus. Dad says driving to Columbus to get computer. Your father wrote C language.
I had C language in college. Yep. C++, C++. Yep. I did all that stuff.
What's our next topic, Luke?
Next topic. You stole my pad. Did you? Okay, real fast. And then we're going to talk about the kids. Did you see the mayor race? Tito's?
Almost lost.
Primary.
Super close.
Dude, it was so close.
We're going to get an independent mayor.
Do you think we are?
Screw the political parties.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Woo!
So the mayor, Jamal Tito Brown, defeated Samantha Turner in the primary. This was the Democratic primary. 1,989 votes to 1,928 votes, a difference of 61 votes.
Yeah.
He almost lost
Yes,
the
he did.
primary. And that was all Democrats, no Republicans, no independents voting. He is freaking done.
Toast.
So what do my question is, before the election, what do the political parties do to stop an independent from winning mayor? Are they allowed to do anything? Could they do anything?
I mean,
I wonder what they're going to try and do.
So what I think they would do is they're going to try. I would say they're going to try and do what they did to Ongaro.
Is say he's Democrat. He just refused.
No, I think they'll try. I wouldn't be surprised if the Republicans put some random person on there,
An unlikable random.
an unlikable random person on there, the Republicans, just to pull votes.
Yep.
Huh.
Just to pull votes.
So that an independent doesn't win.
Yep. Remember they did that with Ongaro?
Yeah, totally.
That's my guess.
Pushing. I want how many independent mayors across the United States are there?
Dude.
Are there a bunch? Is that like a big thing? That's gonna piss off the political parties in Youngstown. So I am all for it.
Man.
I am so for it. I'm so pumped. I am screaming McDowell from the freaking rooftops.
Well, we don't got to worry about that one guy, White, anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Sean
Did he go to
White.
prison.
Dude, he got like
Didn't he beat somebody up? What did he do?
he got arrested for like not beating his wife, but assaulting his wife or something like that. Yeah, he's probably done. There are 3 independent mayors in the 50th largest. Among the mayors of the 50 largest cities in the United States, there are 3 independents, including Hawaii, Detroit.
Times are
Colorado.
changing, baby. Political
about
parties are getting less
all
power.
cities?
Let's go. It's not about
Too late to run on the Republican ticket, so there is no. So it's going to be Dems versus independents.
Is that they're really Tracy? They're really going to let that happen?
So the only thing left to do is try and discredit McDowell
for whatever. He's going to win independent. Times are changing, baby. Times are changing.
So my guess is those Democrats that didn't vote for Tito would vote for McDowell. The Republicans will vote for McDowell.
Yeah. Party's over.
We're having a pizza party in here if Tito loses.
Right.
We're having a pizza party. I'll buy pizza and you can come. Can I invite people in here for the pizza party?
No.
I'll hand select the list. Give me
What if we just put the pizza out there?
Dude, could you imagine how pissed Joe would be? Greasy pizza all over this.
And random people just walking in off the street to grab
Don't do that
pizza.
to me. Don't do it.
Can I just table?
Touching everything.
On the concrete.
Just right here, we just wave.
Touching everything with my greasy hands,
Dude,
Joe. Just all over.
Just like pepperoni, just flying.
For weeks, I'll be like cleaning grease off of everything.
I mean, he's done. He's got to be done, right? Isaac, tell me he's done. Joe, tell me he's done.
I would not be surprised.
You think that you make that call?
I do. Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there is some kind of last ditch efforts, because what happens when an independent runs? The two parties get together. We have a common enemy.
Right.
Let's do something to make sure that the independent doesn't win, because we don't want them to have power. They'll do so. They will work together. That's what they said. The end of racism comes when aliens come.
Yeah.
Because we all get together and kill the aliens.
Yeah, they did it to Ungaro. They're going
to do it. They're going to try some. Just wait and
a tough
see.
one. He's a tough one, though, because if you ever talk to McDowell,
he's a preacher.
We got to have him on the show now.
Yeah.
We got to have him on the show.
Joe talked to him a couple weeks ago.
I know. Well, you had him on the
last
show.
week.
He is well-spoken. He legitimately cares. He legitimately wants the city of Youngstown to do good.
Well-spoken black man. He's got to win.
He's a well-spoken black man.
50% of, you can say it's not about race, 50% of the voters in Youngstown
right.
are black and 50% are white.
It was 50.
Or no, it's 30, 40, 40. 40% white, 40% black.
It was close.
That is a huge demographic of the voting public, and we'll see.
Would be a great question Thursday for the Legal Eagle, huh?
Beatrice.
Oh, that's Monday.
Next Monday,
Beatrice is coming. By the way, I can't wait for that.
It's gonna be awesome.
Hey, you want to hear a secret?
What?
I ordered a tuxedo shirt.
Did you?
I'm gonna cut the sleeves off. I
want
ordered
one.
a tuxedo shirt.
I want one.
Do you want me to get one for you?
Yeah, get me one.
Joe, you want one?
I'm gonna cut. We'll cut the sleeves off.
It's a tuxedo t-shirt.
And then he's gonna be like, "Why are you guys wearing tuxedo t-shirts?"
I wanted to dress up.
Cut the sleeves off.
Do you want to wear it? I ordered a tuxedo t-shirt for Beatrice.
Kind of looks professional, but we know how to party at the same time.
BJ, do you want a tuxedo t-shirt? Why not?
See?
I'm getting. You know who I'm gonna get one? I'm gonna get Isaac the mailman a tuxedo t-shirt.
Wear one.
I'm gonna get Beatrice one too. You sure don't want one?
I don't want one. No, I will never wear a tuxedo t-shirt.
Why not?
Because I don't think it's as funny as you guys think it is.
BJ, what size are you? He's got to be a
He's a medium.
He's a medium.
He's
a small.
Joe's
small.
Medium.
He's
You're
long
medium.
though. He's very lanky.
He is very lanky.
Are you a medium or a small?
Knew it.
He's probably a medium.
He could.
What size is your hat? He said too big.
Speaking of cut off sleeves, I got you a new.
You
cut.
did?
Heck yeah!
Yay! I wear Brandy. I still wear the Lipscomb shirt all the time. The Lipscomb lawn. I wear it all the time.
2X here.
I'm not buying everyone tuxedo t-shirts. I'm just not doing it. All right, let's talk about. We got 20 minutes left. Let's get into this one. The kid stuff. Kid parenting or parenting other people's kids. So there was a post the other day on the Everything Poland page. A kid was riding a electric bike down a road in Poland. Okay. Poland is renowned for not having sidewalks. It wasn't 170. It wasn't a main road. It was like one of the side roads.
Okay.
I guess a mom posted and was all mad because some boomer pulled over and said, "Where are your parents? You shouldn't be on this road. Why are you riding on this bike on this road?" Kid just kept going. And I guess the lady followed the kid and was like, "You need to get off this road," blah, 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 yelling at the kid. Kid goes home, obviously upset, talks to the mom. Mom gets on Facebook and just explodes. Right? We've also had issues in Poland again where we've had kids going and knocking on a door. And I think I don't know if we talked about it on this show. We talked about it on our other show. Knocking on a door by a lake. Guy didn't answer. to ask if they could go fishing. Guy didn't answer. I guess the guy was some old recluse guy.
Yeah.
Called a neighbor. Kids were respectfully walking down the road. Old lady pulls up. Don't you come in our neighborhood again. You're not allowed to fish here, screaming and yelling. And I'll tell you that story because it's funny. How dare you do this? Don't you come back. I'll call the cops on a public road. For that situation, I posted on there and called out that entire neighborhood and Thunderbird Trail. And then I got all kinds of slack. And I actually went back with Lucas. Joe, you can tell me what you think about this. So it was Lucas's friends. I went back with Lucas and his other buddy and gave him fishing poles. And I parked my truck up the road,
waiting for them to
And I sent Lucas out his bait. And they never came. I was waiting. Like I went back and sent Lucas. I was like, walk just up and down this road. And Lucas is like, can I ask you a question, Dad? I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? He's like, are you using me as bait right now? And I'm like, yeah, 100%. He's like, all right, cool. He's like, what do I do if they come? Just wait, I'll be there real fast. He's like, all right, they never can.
Yeah.
So my question is to the people watching at home and here to you two, what do you do? Two-part question. If you see a kid doing something dangerous, and then it goes dangerous, I guess we'll stick with dangerous to start. That's not your kid. Do you say something? Do you not say something? And then as a parent, now I think you're not a parent, but you got nephews.
Right,
you are a parent. Your kid come home and says, your dad, somebody stopped me and said this. What do you do? Like, yeah. Do you flip? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the answer is.
I am somewhere in the middle on this one.
Okay.
So first things first, kids don't play outside enough. So anytime there's a kid playing outside, like I just showed a house in Austintown, this neighborhood was bumping. Right. There were at least 14 kids on bikes at the end of a dead end street, just hanging out. Like some people might be like, oh, those are ne'er-do-wells and they're going to get into trouble. I'm like, that's freaking sweet. Like they're hanging out outside. It's better than them being inside and like just they're talking to each other. They're not on the computer. They're outside. Like I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Right. As long as they're not getting into trouble or doing anything bad, go crazy. Like ride your bikes wherever you want, kids. Just play outside. Don't destroy people's property. Like
right.
So like if they're on my own private property and they want to fish at a lake, what happens if in today's day and age when everybody's so happy? Like I would still be scared if somebody's playing on my property near a lake and that kid drowns and their parents like, you don't have this.
Being on private property is one thing. I'm saying about a kid riding a electric scooter, which is legal down the road.
No, 100%. I'm happy that kid's outside.
Right.
I'm just happy the kid's out in the neighborhood playing rather than being inside doing nothing and looking up porn. Like, what do you like? I'm happy.
Right.
Like I'm so I don't think
it's all about the approach.
Right. Hey, what do you like? If the kid's zigzagging through in and out of traffic, like, dude, you got to be careful. You're going to get hit by a car. Like, be smart.
Or follow the kid home and get like, hey, man, or knock on the door. Hey, I just want to let you know your kid's going zig. I would be happy.
And I wouldn't do that. Right. I would first say, hey, buddy, like, you're zigzagging out of traffic. You're gonna get yourself killed, buddy.
Right.
Like, you got to stay on the side.
Right.
Don't be zig. And then if he continues to do it, then it's like, then you go talk to their parents.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to yell at a kid.
Yeah, you don't. Right.
Yeah.
Another example. Here's a good one. So in Poland, there is where the basketball courts are down by the creek. There is a good way to describe it is there is a creek that has an old public basketball court.
Yeah.
It's public land, it's township land, surrounded by houses.
You
cannot get to the basketball court without walking through people's properties.
Yeah.
A girl lives around there, walked down to the courts and was going for a walk. Walked up through private property.
Yeah.
A lady in one of the houses took her picture.
Yeah.
Posted it on Facebook.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Posted it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And said, this strange lady is walking around my property. I think she's on drugs. Okay. I think she's on drugs.
I'm with you on this.
That's Poland boomers because they don't get out enough. They don't leave their little safe community enough.
I yelled out the window and she ran.
Oh my God.
I called the cops. Okay. It turned out it was like a 13-year-old girl that was just walking around. It was like the first warm day in like February we had. It was like a 60-degree day. And she was just getting to the road
How
to go back
about
to her
rather
house.
than screaming at kids, you stick your head out the window, recognize that it's a 13-year-old girl and say, even if it's an adult, hey, sweetie, what are you doing? Is there something I can help you with? Or are you going somewhere? Are you okay? Then she says, hey, I'm just going down to the basketball court.
Right.
Even if you don't want her to go to the basketball court, hey, honey, next time you go to the basketball court, don't go on my property, go around. Or, hey, you're not allowed to go to the basketball court, so I'm sorry. I know I'm happy you're playing outside, but you can't go there. Like, no, I'm going to publicly shame her, call her a crackhead, and post it on social media. What are we doing?
The dad,
what are we doing
the
here?
dad who I'm friends with, who is ex-military,
Yeah.
who you know,
Yeah.
I'll tell you who it is after we're done, was freaking furious.
Yeah, I want to know the name of that person.
Furious.
You post my little girl on social media.
He called me.
No way.
He called me and he was like, I want to
right. I don't blame him.
And I gave it to him, and I guess he messaged her and they talked on the phone.
Oh, I'm knocking on a door.
Yeah,
I'm knocking on a door.
Because it was the first 60-degree day.
Yeah.
And it was
just be happy the kids are outside.
Right.
Like, what are we doing as a community when we're publicly shaming a little girl for wanting to go to a basketball court?
Right.
I got an example. I want you to your opinion.
Let's hear it.
So at a park, and there were a group of kids that some of them were probably 14, 15, and then some of them were like 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And the older kids started talking about things, using language and sexually explicit stuff. And I walked over to the kid and said, hey, there's young kids here. Let's try not to do that. So I purposely, specifically talked to them and didn't overreact, didn't publicly shame or whatever.
Yeah.
Acceptable?
Yeah, totally.
100%.
Totally.
They got mouthy with you?
Yeah, they did.
Did they give you a hard time?
And it's almost like the young kids were embarrassed that I was speaking on their behalf because I was,
Right.
So the older kids gave you a hard time.
Oh, yeah.
What'd they say?
Yeah, don't tell us what to do, that kind of
it's on then. It's on then. It's on. Yeah, then it's on. So what'd you do then?
Swear. Nothing. I just said, hey, let's try to save them from hearing that.
Where was it at?
It was at Boardman Park.
That would have been the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys want to play that game? We'll play that. I would have called the cops.
Second example,
man. Okay, I would have called the cops. Yep, I would have called the cops.
We're there.
Yep.
My kid and I were there playing Pokemon Go.
Yep.
And some boomer lady walks over to my kid and says, "You're at the park. You shouldn't be looking at your phone. You should be enjoying the weather."
Dude.
Right?
What do you do in that
That's
situation?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is insane. Did you hear her say that?
Oh yeah, I was close enough.
Did you
to
say
hear
anything?
her say anything.
And that's why boomers are dumb, because you have that boomer that goes and yells at that kid for being on his phone, and then the other boomer who the kid is outside playing, and she's a crackhead and she's walking through the woods. Like, what do you want?
If somebody said, "Put your phone down" to my kid in public, I'd be like, "Mind your own business."
Right?
He can do whatever he wants. Like that's. If he was walking in the middle of the road on his phone, different story. If he's outside playing Pokemon Go, I don't have a problem with it.
Right. But the thing is, to defend I'm going to defend the boomer now. To defend the boomer, they always say stuff like that. They do always
make it okay.
I know.
They're bubbling up inside, and then
or maybe what if she's a lonely old lady who doesn't have any kids around? She's walking at the park and she's like, "Hey, sweetie, you should be enjoying. Isn't this weather beautiful? You should be enjoying the nice weather." Like they always say stuff like that. Like I would just laugh it off.
Say stuff like that to my kid.
That's such a boomer thing to say, and I don't think it might not have even come from a place of hostility. I will defend that a little bit.
That's ridiculous. That is not defendable. That is not. No.
Okay.
Don't say that to my kid.
Not having kids. Here's for the people that don't have kids. I'm walking with my dog on the bike path. Okay, you have to have your dog leashed. Okay, Link is very well behaved. Walks right at my side.
Do you not have your dog leashed?
Oh, I have my dog.
Okay,
leashed.
good.
An old dude walks up. His dog doesn't have a leash.
I hate that.
And his dog starts coming over to Link, and Link's just being a good boy standing next to me. And he keeps looking at me like, "Dad, what the hell is going on? Like, that dog's on a leash. What should I do?" So the dog comes, doesn't go up to Link, but like walks by me. And I just stare at this dude Like, what do you like?
Was it a boomer?
He would have come
Was
up
it a boomer?
100% a boomer. If he would have come up the link, I would have said, "Get your damn dog on a leash."
Yeah.
And he was, "Oh no, you have to.
It's a law.
Get your
That's
dog
breaking
on a
the
leash.
law. That's a law. That's a law.
Or
Call
if you
a cop.
want to go next level, no, you say, or better train your dog so it stays near you, and I won't give a crap. You know,
Dude, it's a law though. That's a law.
Right.
I've been attacked by a dog.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
that is a concern.
And if
for
that
me.
dog tries any of these dogs, so I've had, but then at the other hand,
bad.
I have a dog's other owners with dogs on leashes that the dog's going crazy and like trying to get Link and barking and freaking out. And this guy just looks at me like, I'm so sorry. And like Link's like standing there, like sitting next to me,
Like,
just
what
like,
the heck's wrong with
what
this
is
dog?
going on, Dad?
Yeah, right.
Like, so he's such a good boy. But like, yeah, not on a leash. It's like, dude, put your dog on a leash. If it comes anywhere near my dog,
well, here's the problem too. So in Poland Woods, walking around Poland Woods, dogs not on leashes.
Right.
I'm with my kids.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Your dog is a great dog.
Right.
What if it attacks my kid?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I will kill your dog.
Right.
And then I will kill you.
Punting.
Like, it's just gonna happen.
Punt. I would punt a dog.
Right.
if it
Yeah.
tried
It's
to get
it,
mine.
like yeah.
Punt
It's
a dog.
crazy. Like,
But Joe, in that situation, if I was at the park and there were kids swearing and I have my younger kid there and it's like, listen, there's younger kids here. You need to stop swearing. And they said, don't tell me what to do. I'm like, okay. You want to be adults, you little shit? We're going to be adults. Stay right here. I'm calling the cops. Yeah, I'm calling the cops. You're going to be an adult.
stay right here. Yeah.
Stay right here. You want to be an adult? We're going to be an adult, you little shit.
Yeah.
You wanna-
I would totally do
Yeah,
that.
that's what
too.
we're doing.
But that would be my plan.
Yeah. All right. Stay right here.
We'll play.
Yeah. And then the kid tries to run away, chasing him down.
With the phone.
Chasing him down. We're going to be adults now. We're going to be adults.
I would do this.
Yeah.
I would do the same.
And then, hey,
I would do
because,
Joe. I would
because
do
at
the
that
same
point,
with Greg.
at that point, you want to try and run away. I'm recording you. I am finding you, and we're dealing with this right now.
We're gonna be adults. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
My
tough.
plan ended with the reasonable exchange.
But you didn't teach him a lesson, Joe. Joe, it's all about teaching lessons.
I know.
You got to teach him a lesson. I mean, that's it. Wow. So we're all in agreement. It's like
There are situations that it's a good idea to say something.
say
And
I would say
situation-
safety issues. It's a good idea.
Right.
Other than that, mind your own.
And
freaking
even
business.
if it was on my, what I'm saying is, even if it was on my property, because it's like something like you have a swing set or something. Like I've had that happen where sellers of property that I'm clients of mine are like, hey, if you show the house or somebody shows the house, I don't want people climbing on the jungle gym because if the
That's fair.
kid falls off,
That's fair.
they'll
That's
sue.
fair.
It's
That's
just
fair.
how people are.
That's fair.
So if somebody wants to come onto my property and it's a kid, I would literally have something signed. I'll be like, listen, I want your kid to have fun if he wants to come here and play, but like they need to sign this paper because you are not suing me when your kid gets hurt or
That's
drowns
fair.
in my lake.
Now, when you guys were kids, when you played outside, were there boundaries like stay out of yards, or were you in
Yeah.
everybody's yard?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There was like, hey, don't go in this guy's yard. He's crazy and he'll yell at you. Yeah.
I don't remember anybody ever caring.
So
Also, we got into trouble and I ding dong ditched people. That also happened. But like, I don't think that's good now. I still think that's
So no, I didn't, because I was out more in the country though. Before his was more development. So mine was, we knew the neighbors on the right, we knew the neighbors on the left. They let me go where I went all over.
Yeah, we played kick the can, and we were in everybody's yard.
Everybody's
all the time.
yard.
Right.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was around people.
here.
Yeah,
Go
all
up,
over.
go up, scroll up here.
I'm not allowed to do that.
Lynn says my kids were notorious for ding dong ditching. No harm to property. People were having cows. Come on, the same people are bitching about kids sitting inside playing video games. So I think ding dong ditching, especially if it's in like the middle of the night at midnight, like I totally used to do that when I was in high school and younger, but you can't do that because it's scary. Like it's the middle of the night and people are running the door. You don't know who that is, So
What about smashing pumpkins?
also stupid because you're destroying people's property. Like
Toilet papering?
also destroying people's property. I got in trouble for that. And I was talking back to a cop at like 16, 17 years old. And a cop caught us toilet papering. And he's like, you're damaging property. I'm like, I might be damaging property, but I promise they don't care. And the cop's like, you don't have to be such a punk and talk back to me. I'm like, I'm just telling you, I promise you they don't care. He's like, I'm going to go talk to them and see if they want to sue you. I was like, go ahead. And the parents were so pissed at me because I remember my buddy's parents were there and my mom was there and she's like, you're talking back to a cop. I'm like, I promise they don't care that we toilet papered them. And then the cop was like, you're gonna have to go over and clean it up. I'm like, why don't you go ask them and see what they say? And this cop was so mad, and the parents were so mad at me. And then he went and asked him, and they're like, you don't have to clean it up. It's not a big deal. And the cop's like, we're recommending that they clean it up. I'm like, they don't care. Like I told you, they don't care because it's also a kid that we know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not talking back. I'm telling you that they don't care.
Did you clean it up?
Yeah, we cleaned it up the next day out of respect. But it's like just so annoying. But like when you're that age, it's like you're right on the edge of.
So you want to talk about a different age? So I'm 15 years older than you.
Yeah.
We toilet papered somebody.
Yeah.
We toilet papered Haas's apple orchard.
Yeah.
And you know Haas's apple orchard out there. I went to school with Jake Haas. We had like 5 kids went out there, toilet papered them.
Yeah.
And we lit fireworks off
on the front porch.
We
did that too.
You know the little
firecrackers.
The firecrackers lit them off. Ran, and I'm sitting in the apple orchard field in front of the house.
Yeah,
and I look out and see Mr. Haas, who's short little guy, comes out, kicks the door open. You guys want fireworks? I got fireworks. Got gun. Start shooting into the air. We're all like, run! He's got a gun, and he's just. I'm like, run! We're like diving into the ditch on the freaking Callan Road.
You never did it again.
Never went back to that one. You guys want fireworks? I got fireworks. We toilet papered my neighbor's house last Halloween. I'm 41. We should grab Jeremy and go toilet paper. Oh, dude, I got an idea.
Toilet paper Joe's
Don't
house?
say this publicly, please.
No, not Joe's. No, not Joe's.
Yes.
Me, you, Joe,
and
Jeremy, Justin Kaufman's
house.
house.
Why don't we toilet paper? I know Jeremy's not watching. We just toilet paper Jeremy's house.
Do you want to?
We'll do it. Yeah,
dude, he's not watching.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. If you're watching at home,
total publicity stunt, we get arrested. Like me in the back and cops in the back of the cop car.
Okay, listen. If you're watching at home, do not tell Jeremy we are going to toilet paper his house.
We'll
stream it live. Let's do it.
You guys want to do this?
Whenever.
Do we know where he lives?
We find it. It's a public record.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, let's toilet paper the shit out of it too.
See, he's gonna destroy our property. This is how we
gonna do.
This is how wars begin.
Jeremy's a little punk ass bitch. He ain't gonna do nothing. Let's toilet paper.
And we poop in a pizza box. We put it,
and that's how it goes
overboard. We put it on his front porch. And then he thinks he got a pizza delivered along with the toilet paper, and he opens like, "Oh my god, that's poop!"
And then we light it on fire.
No, we don't light it on fire. I want him to see my poop.
This is devolved.
Why has it gone from toilet papering to this? Oh god, I know where one of your next guests lives, right around the corner. I'm not toilet papering David Beatrice's house.
That's not a good idea.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
A guy who knows the ins and outs of the legal system.
I am
not gonna fuck with that guy. Excuse me.
All right, we gotta go, everybody. We will be back on Friday. We don't have a guest Friday, do we? Monday we have a guest. Oh, Friday we're not gonna be here.
We're teaching kids. We're doing a PowerPoint.
We're not gonna be here Friday.
Okay.
So you got stuff Thursday, right?
Yes. Thursday I have stuff. Friday we're teaching the youth.
The youths. What school? Boardman.
We are teaching the youth about.
They wanted a podcaster guest, a streaming guest, because kids are interested in being streamers. So they want us to come in and tell them what it's like to be streaming.
Maybe I should wear my tuxedo shirt.
You should. You should.
I should wear my tuxedo. Oh my gosh. What are we going to talk about? How long is it? What do we get?
I don't know. I was thinking about doing some kind of thing where you like, hey, we're podcasters and the importance of podcasting is asking good questions. So we want you to come up in front of the class and act like you're sitting in like a little tiny studio and ask us a question. And we'll let everybody in the class do that. That'll take like an hour. There you go. There's our hour.
What?
Yeah.
We're so imperfect. Like how are
we'll give a PowerPoint presentation.
On what?
I don't know.
We don't do anything.
Streaming pictures of us, how we got started.
Listen, these kids are impressionable. Make sure you leave them with something that will be helpful and will help in their careers.
Right.
Both of you. Be responsible.
Listen, kids.
How are we supposed
if
to
you ever get yelled at for biking down the road, you tell that old person.
Call him a boomer.
You call him a boomer and say, okay, boomer, listen up. I could be inside right now playing video games, looking at porn on the internet, but instead I'm outside riding my bike. I'm going to keep riding my electric bike and you're going to go home and drink some prune juice.
What would DRM's a when and where? Listen, when somebody questions if you're professional or not, you have to flip the camera. I'm like, how are we, like, why are we talking to kids? Good Lord. Oh, well. All right. Hey, everybody, we are realtors and loan officers. If you ever want to buy a house, sell a house, finance a house, maybe you're getting a divorce.
You need to
refinance that mean, nasty lady out of your, or mean, nasty man off of your loan. We can help. Maybe you're in dire need because you're a boomer and you got to
sell your house and downsize.
We can help.
We
can help you sell, boomers.
I'd love to be your realtor. Also, check out our podcast sponsor, Valley Insurance Group.
I have a sponsor for next week too, by the way.
Valley Insurance Group. Call him. It's Mayor Poland. Get an auto quote. Home insurance.
Seriously, call him. He's good. He's good. Tell him the MLO sent you.
Also,
roll his eyes.
If you know of anybody that would like to sponsor our podcast, give us a call. We're cheap.
Super cheap.
We can add. I'll sit right here talk about how awesome your product is.
Never even used it.
I don't even know what it is. I'll say how awesome it is. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll say it's cool. It's good. You're the best at it.
BJ, what's the name of your band?
Turbo Lovers.
Huh?
Turbo Lovers.
Turbo Lovers.
Don't. He doesn't want us to talk about it. He's probably embarrassed by us.
Guys, let me tell you about Turbo Lovers. Best band I've ever heard in my entire life. I've heard it.
You can hear the turbo in the music.
The turbo, and let me tell, so much love in the turboness of the Turbo
all
Lovers.
Wear fedoras.
It's beautiful. If you never follow, go to YouTube right now and follow the Turbo Lovers. If you're not, you're missing out. Maybe download their latest song
ever.
They're on Spotify, YouTube.
I don't know.
You know.
All right.
BJ, what's the hit single?
Black and Blue.
Hit single Black and Blue.
Black and Blue. It's on Is it on Spotify? It's on YouTube right now. Download it.
Black and Blue, their newest hit single on
amazing.
YouTube. But if you want us to talk about whatever,
just
your
like we are right now,
you know somebody who owns an awesome local company, you want us to talk about how awesome they are, we'll do it.
Yep.
Just for
easily bought.
What's our
price?
What? For an ad?
Call us. Call Joe.
Call Joe.
And he'll get you set up with pricing.
Yeah. Do we get a cut of that?
No.
We don't get a cut of that? Why the hell are we doing it?
Not yet.
I'm gonna need it
in the future.
This is crap.
Call Joe.
Call Joe and just give Joe your money. We'll just
and I'll buy all the cleaning supplies.
Do this for free. Do this for free, I guess, forever.
I bring attention to this damn studio.
You do a damn good job.
He doesn't even let us have a pizza party.
I know. He says we're gonna get greased on everything.
Yeah. Don't wear a tuxedo shirt.
Negotiate back. I mean, if you want something, you got to ask for it.
Well, think about it.
I want a tuxedo shirt.
Think about it.
That's
actually, you know what? Call us. Don't call Joe. We'll present your offer to Joe. We'll go from there.
He should be talking to the public.
All right. Thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, go down below and like us. But see you next time.
Bye.